Hi, we're Steph and Josh. Welcome back to the Steph and Josh Show.
But what if they're new? You can't say welcome back.
Well, welcome then, whether you're new or not. This is our show. Hello, welcome to the Steph and Josh Show. I'm Josh, and this is Steph.
Hi!
Yes, we thought we'd try a podcast because, why not? It's different, it's fun. We can talk about basically whatever we want and not be judged for it, so...
Well, people can have their own opinions.
Yeah, but they're wrong. I'm joking, I can't say that, I'm sorry.
You can't!
Well, pretend I didn't say that. Anyway, topic today came to me when Steph was playing Roblox. And as much as she hates to admit that she plays it, she does. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a perfectly fine game. What?
What did you have to say that for?
It's fine. There's nothing to be
It's
ashamed
not.
of. It is.
It's a kid's game.
It's not a kid's game. Look, kids play it. Kids play Call of Duty. Is that a kid's game?
No.
Exactly.
Anyways,
Plenty of adults play it. It came up when Steph was playing that, and she was just like messing about with like different ones, and I just, passing time. And she did this high school one, and she had to do a maths equation. And
it had a weird star on it.
yeah, I don't know what the star means in a math symbol.
Yeah, so if anyone knows that,
please tell us. But the thing I got thinking, like, if the school did teach us that, we haven't remembered it. So now I go thinking again, why do schools feel the need to teach stuff that you don't need to know? And why do they not teach you stuff that you do need to know? I'm going to burp. Hang on. I'm sorry.
That is disgusting.
Sorry.
In some cases, it all depends in what you want to do when you get older.
Yeah.
Like what career you want to go in. Then I guess that's okay. Like, if your career, say, needs you to be really, really good at a subject, then yeah, if you're going to be a scientist, obviously you're going to want to study science.
Yeah, and like, say if you want to be an aerospace engineer where the slightest miscalculation can end in disaster, then obviously you need to be good at maths. But if you want to be a singer or start a coffee shop or be...
your own business.
Start your own business, I don't think maths and English and that is really necessary.
I do.
Huh?
I think it is necessary to some extent.
To some extent.
I think
maths, yeah, because you need to like do finances and stuff.
I think it's more of like the other subjects.
Like French and
like
geography
French,
and
yeah.
that.
I spent like 2 to 3 years learning French, and what did I get from it?
Can you speak French?
A little bit, yeah.
Is it helped you?
Where would I need, like in my career, where would I need to speak French?
Well, obviously, if you go to France.
And also you have, if you're a traveller, that's fine. Speaking different languages and learning about it. But it's like we had to choose from French, Italian, and I think it was German as well. And I picked French because I know a little bit of French already.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing. Why do we need to... Like, in my school, you've got an advert on your recording. Is it still recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's fine. No, Steph's using a recording thing on my iPad that I've never used before. And
well, you have used it.
No, I haven't.
Not in a long time, you said.
No, not at all. I was on about the app that sends the files across. I've never used that before.
Oh.
This is the only one that works on an iPad that old.
Yeah.
I've got an iPad 4. It's a million years old, but it still works. Because we don't have a microphone. We're not rich, you see. That's why we're doing a podcast. I'm joking.
Gift us a microphone. I'm joking.
No. But yeah, she's using a recording software on my iPad, and it's got ads on it, and we panicked because we thought, as long as the ad don't come up while we're recording, it'll be fine, and one just popped up, but it's still recording, so that's fine.
It's fine.
So at least we know now. I'm going to burp again. I moved the microphone away. Did that work?
Disgusting.
I'm drinking pop, bubblegum pop, or soda if you're American. Anyway, enough about microphones and recording. Yeah, the whole school thing. We don't understand why it's necessary to teach, especially maths, English, science. I do understand to an extent, but stuff like geography, history, Spanish, French, languages,
Yeah.
stuff like, unless you actually want to go into that trade or you want to go traveling, why do you need to know about it?
Yeah.
Like in my school, when we started our GCSEs in year 9 when I was 13, 14. So, and I had to pick, I could pick any subject I want, but picking a language wasn't compulsory. But when my sister, who's 5 years younger than me, started the same school and she was in year 9, she did have to pick a language, and they made it compulsory, and she had to pick either Spanish or French. And that's what I don't get. Why was it not compulsory for me, but it was compulsory for her? You know, she, like, since she's left school, she has not.
When would she need to actually like use that?
The only country we've been since she's been at that school is Portugal, and they don't teach that.
I mean, like, if you got taught in school, right, languages, and then you went to college and studied something completely different, by the time that you leave college, you're going to forget what some of them phrases are anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's the... Yeah. So why teach them if they're not going to get us anywhere? Like, unless you want to go travelling,
I think
or you want to
schools
teach...
should teach things that come in handy and one day might either save a life or inform you about things in your, when you're gonna be, like, in your adulthood, basically.
Yeah. So, like, if you want to say, because my old head teacher in my primary school, she went to Greece to teach the students English. In that instance, it's fine to learn a language. If you want to teach other people to speak a language, that's fine. Or if you want to go travelling, or if you want to be a translator, or whatever. But like Steph just said,
Or to be a teacher.
Huh?
Or to be a teacher.
Or just be a teacher in general, yeah. But like Steph just said, shouldn't they be focusing more on the subjects that affect everyday life? Stuff like finance, mortgages, banking, mental health, even health in general, first aid, stuff like that.
I did one lesson on first aid in my school, and it was CPR. Just that one lesson, CPR.
Why are you holding my phone case?
I don't know. But honestly, no, like, I did CPR and that's it. It's like, there's more to first aid than just CPR.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of schools should teach about mental health, because nowadays schools are like, oh, as long as the children's in, we'll get paid. They treat it more like a business. And I was bullied in school, and they didn't really deal with it properly.
That's the thing. They need to really understand what's important, especially for kids. Like, don't they say the majority of suicides nowadays are people under 21? Because of school and colleges have got another ad.
Saying that.
What?
Just keep on saying what you were saying.
So shouldn't they be focusing on the things that actually matter? Because I've had mental health myself. I was in a really dark place a few years ago. But, I had the proper help I needed, but not from the school, from my family and loved ones. Because they're the people that actually care about you. The school just pretends to care about you. There's a difference. They just do what they think makes them look good.
The schools have said that they're a business. They're a business and they're there to make money.
Like, schools will do things that make them look good, not because they actually care.
Do you know
but even
what?
then...
I think it's in year 8 or 9 I was in, and somebody was complaining about what happened. I can't say obviously, but somebody was complaining about what happened to them. And the teacher was like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to sit there and complain about my, like, dryer doesn't work." And it's like, that's completely different. Like,
A dryer is a lifeless piece of machinery that will wear down over time. A human being is
and their
precious.
well-being, you know?
Like, if there's any teachers, especially head teachers out there that happen to hear this, please, for the love of God, take more care of your students. Put their needs before yours. If your school gets crap exam results, who gives a toss? As long as your students are happy, that's the main thing. I'm not saying you need to go and get rid of lessons altogether and make break time 4 hours a day. I'm not saying that.
It's just, really listen to the students. If
Yeah.
they're struggling, help them. Like,
Give them-
if they're upset because they're being bullied, like, to say, don't force them into going into school and seeing that bully every day. And not putting any sort of support in whatsoever, or not talking to the bully. And I think they should also teach about banking as well.
Banking. Yeah, banking. That's another subject they should teach. Banking, mortgages, taxes, home ownership, everything that you have to deal with once you leave school or college or whatever. Things in real life, They always push you into getting a job or how to get into work
They
experience,
say
whatever.
They say that. Oh, you're going to get good jobs if you have good grades. The only jobs that are willing to take people who left school or college is fast food places.
Yeah.
How is that a really good job?
Yeah. And some people are in a position where they can't leave. They have to stay there for their whole life. When they're on a wage that can barely pay the bills, And they always push people into jobs and into work, but these kids, they don't know how to do that.
I think, especially colleges as well, I think colleges put a lot of work pressure on the students.
They
Like,
do.
I remember me at college, I took home a lot of assignments that needed to be due in that week. And it's just like, I can't keep up. Like, yes, you give me this work to take home, but I have a home life just like you. And they say, oh, well, we have a home life as well, but we're marking your work. You're just putting a tick or a cross, like...
Yes, but, the homework is a lot worse than what they do.
Yeah, the homework, you have to actually, research and think about it, and they expect too much, I think.
Yeah, they do. They think...
And that's not good for mental health either.
No.
Because I came home from college with my work crying sometimes and wanting to throw it in the bin. I actually threw it in the bin once because it was too much. I was up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, trying to finish the work off. Had to wake up at 7 to get into college. So I could go to the library and finish that work that I've been doing the night before. For that day. And it was just too much.
Yeah. It's like, my college was odd because for half of the first year I didn't even have a teacher. So then by the time the second year came around, we were way behind. So we had to work extra time to catch up. So, what were we supposed to do about it? It got so bad, my mental health got so bad, I had to drop out.
Why did they do that as well? Like they give you a teacher, but sometimes the teacher doesn't even know what to teach you. Like they actually give you a supply teacher, and the teacher's like, oh, I don't know where you're up to.
Yeah.
It's like, have you not been informed? Do teachers not talk to each other?
I don't understand. I don't understand what's the point of running students to the ground just to give yourself a boost and make yourself look good on the system.
Yeah.
Like, is it worth it? Yes, okay. You get paid more. Whoop-de-doo. What about all these students who have got stress and anxiety and
Depression
depression and
and
all these
all
problems
that.
that you've caused, essentially?
And they might have problems at home as well. You don't know. And
Exactly.
it's just adding on to the stress, where, I haven't, like at my school, I've been to two schools. I've been in my first school, which I'm not going to name for obviously, and I got really badly bullied to the point where it was physical bullying. And I told the teacher it seemed like they weren't doing anything about it. Like they were just like sitting there and like, oh, what do you want me to do about it? But what do you think? And
Sort it
it's
out.
like, I got that bad and I got that stressed and, I had really low self esteem that I just didn't want to go back to that school. And, I cried nearly every night and it's just not good. It's not good for, a person's mental health to feel like that.
Yeah. It's the same with me. I had, bullying problems and that, and it got really bad to one point. I mean, I think my school reacted better than yours did because they took me out of lessons for a while.
Mine did. Guess how long?
How long?
A day.
Mine was a few weeks. Might have been, no, it was actually a few months, actually. A couple of months.
And that's when they sent me back to French class. And, you know what happened because I told you. And then I moved schools. But that's why I don't like group work. I can't, I don't feel comfortable working in a group. And when there's a group of people, I panic, and schools, and that started from school, Primary school, I was a happy, very confident, bubbly, kind. I am still a kind person. But, I was really bubbly. I was happy. As soon as I got, to secondary school, it went downhill.
Yeah.
And even college as well. When you think people, in college, they should, But
I think for me, primary school was up and down. Secondary school was fine. Then it had a big down, but then it went up again. College was a really big up, but then it went right down.
so you were on a roller coaster then.
Yeah, I've been all over the place.
Yeah.
I did make a good friend at college though, who I'm still friends with.
Yeah.
So that's good. I got something out of it, and I got some form of qualification, which is alright, I guess. Yeah, because I still did the first year, so I got that
I really
qualification.
think that they should have a lesson on mental health and how it affects people. And what to do when they're feeling down. Who can they go to? Because you do feel alone when you're going through them situations. And you do feel like there's no one that you can really talk to. If the school teaches you, these are all the websites that you could look at maybe, and, you could, talk to a family member or friend, and then actually explain, explain how to cope with it, coping mechanisms,
Yeah. Well, I think the worst. I've got a point actually. You know how in schools you're not allowed your phones? Say something goes wrong in school and the teachers don't do anything. Who the bloody hell are you supposed to talk to? Because you're not allowed to ring your parents to tell them that something's gone on. You just have to rely on the school to sort it out. And half the time they don't even care. And when they
I
do
remember
care,
that.
yeah.
No, that happened exactly to me. When that big event happened and before I moved school, I didn't have my phone with me. So I borrowed my friends and called my home number, and my dad came in a taxi, and the school was more concerned about, oh, you're not allowed phones. Whose phone did you use? And I was in tears, crying, and my dad was like, hold on, she's crying. Aren't you gonna ask if she's like, what happened? And they were just more bothered about whose phone I used, rather than the fact that I'd been badly bullied. But they didn't really, you know.
Yeah. Sorry. I just, a lot of people don't realise how kids especially don't, I'm talking about bullies now, people who bully people. I know that sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the reason they bully people is because they either have insecurities or because they have an absolute crap life at home, or they've just been brought up really badly. So it's not entirely their fault. I mean, even if you are going through those situations, it's not an excuse to bully people. But, it's a little bit negotiable. Just, if you're in those situations, get help. Don't take out on other people, especially if they've done nothing wrong.
And also the schools to listen as well. Like, if, say the bully was bullying people because something was going on at home, maybe for the school to be more open, like, if there's something, that's upsetting you or anything, come and tell us. And maybe they could sort it out,
It's like, if you're the kind of person who picks on people or teases people, not necessarily bullies them, but just like teases them, that might be doing more damage than you think it is. And I know in your head it's harmless fun, but to some people it might not be like that.
And they're going to remember that for a long time.
Yeah. And I'm saying this from personal experience. I've always struggled with, knowing the difference between if someone's being serious or not. But I'm not saying you can't do it at all. Just make sure the person you're doing it to understands your intentions. If you say something as a joke and it looks like they've actually took offence to it, apologise to them. Just say, oh, sorry, I didn't mean anything bad by it. I was just having a joke. Make them understand that you were just having a joke, right? Because if you do that, then they'll know you're not intentionally trying to hurt them. You're just trying to have fun, and it's, you've gone a bit AWOL. But that also doesn't mean you can use that as an excuse to bully people if you just apologise afterwards. Like, that doesn't mean you can get someone's lunch, throw it on the floor, and then smack them, and then say, oh, sorry, I was only joking. That's out of order. You can't use that as an excuse to bully people. But there is a bit of like a loophole where if you're just like harmless fun, but they've took it a way that you didn't intend it, then apologise. But if you are just an a-hole and you just bully people just for the sake of it, or because you've got your own insecurities, why? Don't do it. Because you can't assume that everyone is going to be able to take it.
There's that saying, isn't it?
What?
Treat others the way that you want to be treated.
Exactly. Like you have to assume. This is something my mom told me, and I've stood by it ever since. You have to assume that literally every other person in the world is having a crappy day. Because if you do that, then you're more likely to be nice and polite with them. And that's what I've done ever since. And unless obviously they're an arse first, then I'll be an arse back. But I would never be the first one to have a go. Because I always assume that everyone has had a crappy day, which 90% of the time is not true. But if you act like it is, then it makes you a nicer, more caring person. I mean, obviously some people really don't care about that. Some people just think, oh, I'm here now. You have to do everything I say. And they're the people who are going to end up in hell with no one to love. And
Do you know what I hate?
what?
When some people say, Once you've been bullied, you become a bully. Because that isn't
That's not true.
true. It's down to the person if they choose to be a bully or be nice. And I wish there was more nice people in the world.
Yeah, there needs to be more nice people in the world.
You know, like, why can't everyone just get on and,
Like,
you know?
it's like you were saying, like this whole Vladimir Putin thing going on at the minute. Like, why can't he just stop?
Yeah,
You know, like, why do wars even exist? Like, why can't everyone just have an agreement
it
on things?
upsets me
I know, it's
to
ridiculous.
hear about that innocent people.
You know, I always
You
said
know?
when I was younger, I'm so glad we didn't live through World War Two. But the way it's going, it's going to be
You
bloody
know
World
that
War Three anyway.
innocent people are like, you know, being told like, oh, they have to go and fight for their country, and it's like, and they're being injured. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
and even innocent people in like, you know, innocent people getting hurt. You know, it's not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, because you find it's the people who've done nothing wrong that get the most crap.
Yeah.
You know, the people who,
It's really really sad though.
yeah, yeah, it's just we're talking a lot about personal experience like this podcast.
Yeah.
I think this is more of just a personal rant from both of us rather than a
Yeah.
actual official podcast about anything. But as in all jokes aside, it is a very serious topic, mental health, and I do think it should be talked about more. I know they've got this mental health awareness month thing going on now,
Yeah.
but why hasn't that been around longer? That's only been around for a couple of years. You know, they made a big thing about it on, was it Britain's Got Talent or Comic Relief or something?
Is it that Britain's Got Talent, Britain Get Talking sort of thing?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I remember Anton Deck introducing it. That was only a couple of years ago. So why hasn't it been around longer?
I just think schools and, you know, like schools should really talk about that.
Because I think the main problem is, especially kids, they don't understand mental health.
I think there should be more put into place at college as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have mental health or anything, like somewhere that you can go and talk to, like, say, not like a counsellor as such, but like someone who does like the role of a counsellor.
Yeah.
You know?
I think there should be more places, because there's a place near Steph's house where we're not from the same area, but there's a place near her house which is kind of like, it's a college, but it's not a college. It's sort of just like it's sort of like a hangout place, but you can do like activities and
confident building.
yeah, but it's
Your own
specifically
interests, basically.
it's anyone can go, but it's aimed specifically for people with mental health and
yeah.
struggles. And I think there needs to be more places like that. You know, more places where the staff are really friendly. There's other people who are in the exact same situation as you, where you can feel you can
They
talk
haven't
to
been
them
through
about
the same
anything.
things, but they
Not
have
the exact
the
same things, but they have the same struggles.
Yeah.
You know, they have the same opinion on life that you do. You know, that everything's crap and everyone's horrible, and you know.
Yeah, and you just go there and you feel like, you know, like you do your activities, and it's just nice to have a place like that. And I think there should be more places open like that around.
Like, because I heard about a year ago they opened a community centre, or I thought it was going to be a community centre. And I thought, oh, that might be interesting to go to, you know, make friends, you know, everyone be nice to each other. But it turned out to be a civic centre and library thing. So I was really disappointed about that, because I thought, oh, you know, I can go to the community centre, me and Steph could go together, try hopefully make new friends, whatever. Because apart from one really good friend, me and you don't really have friends, do we?
I never really had that many friends in my
Funny enough, I had
life.
a lot of friends in school, but I don't talk to any of them now. Like any, the only friend.
I only had like I had one friend in my first school, like my first secondary school. That was the friend from primary school. And then when I left there, I only had like fake friends in my secondary school. Like they used to like talk behind each other's backs, and be like really nasty to each other. Like, and I think that's bad as well. Like,
I think as well, like, I don't understand why it's so hard for people to understand.
yeah.
Like, yes, okay, not everyone's been in the same boat, but surely everyone has at least some compassion. You must have some understanding that, what this specific person has gone through is a lot worse than what you've gone through, Just because it hasn't
It's
happened to you
just
doesn't mean you've got to imagine it has happened to you. How would you feel if
like
those things had happened to
when
you?
when you sit in a classroom, you don't know what's going on with like in other people's lives.
Uh-huh.
You don't know what's happened to them, what's going on in their life currently. But like some people choose to bully people,
Uh-huh. Like
and it's horrible.
the whole thing of bullying someone specifically because of a certain reason, i.e. they've got glasses, they've got ginger hair, they've got
Or they
freckles,
dress
braces,
differently.
they dress differently, anything stupid like that. I know that's very old fashioned, but you do still get it occasionally. Like the specifically pinpointing people just because they're different is wrong. As much as I hate to admit it, racist bullying is still a thing. Obviously it's not quite as bad as it was back in the day, but it's still quite bad. Obviously neither of us are of colour ourselves, but we've had friends who are, and the stuff they went through as a coloured person, it's like, I feel so sorry for them, And it's like, I just don't understand. Like, at the end of the day, we're all people. We're meant to be there to help and support each other. When people start mucking about and doing stupid things, saying horrible things, that's when the world goes to pot. And that's why wars and stuff happen. Because people have a tantrum and they can't bloody, get anything right.
If everyone was nice and sticked up for each other, I like when I was at school, I said to my mum and dad, like, I really wish there was a school where everyone was kind to each other and got on. Like, that would be my dream school.
Uh-huh.
And it's just, you're in school, and that's school and college. Primary school, not so much, because in primary school, you're sort of like, you're like in nursery, you're just, what is it like? You're just figuring out, what is it again?
What?
Like
Figuring
in
out.
nursery, you're figuring out like textures and stuff
Yeah, you're
and
just trying to
things.
still figure things
Yeah.
out.
But like in secondary school and college, like you're meant to be like focusing on what you want to do after.
Uh-huh.
And I just think that I don't think that the bullies realise what damage they can cause to a person.
The sad thing is, most people who have bullied someone has either been bullied themselves or ends up being bullied. And until then, they don't know what it feels like. Apart from the ones who have been bullied before. But then, that's what I don't understand. If you've been bullied yourself, and you know how it feels, why would you put that on someone else? Especially if they've done nothing to you. If it's someone who's been really horrible to you, then fair enough. But if you don't, say like you just started a new school, you see, I don't know, a kid wearing glasses and he's got braces, and you think, I'm going to pick on him because he looks weird. You can't, like, what's he done to you? You don't even know him. He could be a really nice guy if you got to know him, but you ain't gonna know because you're just being horrible to him for no reason. Especially if you've been through it yourself, why make other people go through it? And then I suppose you could have the argument of, well, I don't want to be the only one going through with it. Funny thing is though, mate, you're not. There are other people going through it every day. You included. Doesn't mean you have to make someone else's life miserable just because yours is. If anyone's watching, and if you have bullied someone at some point in your life, that doesn't mean you're a horrible person. You just need to rethink about how you're treating people.
And if you're bullying someone currently, maybe just take time to think about
Their
what
side.
it can
Lead,
cause
because
for the other person.
like, I know it's not really the school's business, but there's like, I did hear a story, like the plenty of stories where, a child has, done something really bad to themselves because they can't cope with the bullying. But then when the kids find out about it, they find it funny. It's like, that's not anything to laugh about. That's really serious. And the chance is you've probably caused them to do that. You're just sitting there saying, oh, he's whatever. And you just sit there and laugh about it. I remember my mom telling me a story of someone she went to school with who very sadly passed away on the way to school. And the school jock, if you like, he was like the popular kid, he found it hilarious and even wrote a song about him. I mean, that bully did pass away himself not long after, which I guess is karma, but still, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but, like, why do people find other people's other people's misery funny? It doesn't make sense to me.
Like, even when they pick on someone and the person starts crying, they find like, oh, I've made that person cry, so I'm just going to bully them even more to make them cry again. And bullying isn't okay.
No.
Whether it's verbal bullying or physical bullying, like,
It's the same.
any type of bullying is not okay. And it's just like, if everyone was nice, then that, there'll be no bullying.
Yeah. It's just, can't people just be nice to each other? Is it really that hard?
And I think schools and colleges should really deal with it more as well, especially if you're being like bullied in school or college. I think that they need to deal with it more.
Yeah.
Because they don't deal with it the way that they should.
No, well, to be honest, they don't really deal with it at all.
They just say, I'll have a word with them. Like, how do you know that they'll have a word with them?
They don't. They just say that to shut you up.
And it's just like, okay, I'll have a word with them, but then they're going to continue to bully me. It's like, there's nothing in place. And, it's just, I think teachers and, like, they should talk about bullying a lot. I mean, my school had an anti-bullying week, but there were still bullies in that school that still bully people and thought it was funny to call them, to throw stuff at them, and it's just, it's like, it's not nice.
It's almost like people think if they bully someone, it makes them cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
They
It makes
do it
you
in groups, don't they?
It doesn't make you cool. It makes you an arse.
Like, they do it like when they're in a group of friends. They're like, oh, I'm going to show off by calling that person there. And it's like, you calling them, like, I still remember everything that happened to me in school since year 7, like all the bullying and everything, word for word. And I'm much older now, but I still remember that because it's the negative, like, experience of school that I had. It stays with you.
That's the thing people got to understand. It's a lot harder to forget the bad stuff than it is the good stuff. I guarantee if you went up to someone and said, how many good moments in your life do you remember? And how many bad moments in your life do you remember? I guarantee the list of bad stuff will be longer. And if it isn't, they're lying. Because everyone has been through bad stuff and the bad stuff sticks with you. That's not to say...
And it affects you as well.
Yeah. That's not to say the good stuff hasn't happened to them. They just don't remember it because the bad stuff is taking up all the room. Yeah.
We kind of went on about bullying a lot. I think that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. This podcast kind of turned into a massive rant. But I think because we've both been affected by it, it's a topic.
It's something that we wanted to really
It's
talk
something
about.
that should be talked about more. So anyone who happens to listen to this, in whether it be today, tomorrow, 10 years in the future, whenever, if you're listening to this, just, make sure, ask people if they're okay,
Yeah.
even if you don't know them. If someone,
Like in class, if somebody looks sad or down,
ask
maybe
them
just
what's wrong.
ask them if they're okay.
You know?
Instead from laughing at them.
I'm not saying, that you have to ask literally everyone, because that's impossible, but...
I mean, if you see a person who's, say, in your class and they're sitting, I don't know, at the back table by themselves and they look really sad and they're not really talking, maybe just sit next to them and ask them if they're okay, if they,
Another thing as well, this may or may not be a personal experience, but when don't laugh at me, but when you go to ask someone out, why do they make such a big thing about it? Like, when they say no, they make such a big thing about it. Like, they laugh, they go, ew, they giggle, and then they run away and say no, as if. Why do they do that? Why can't they just pull you to one side and say, look, you're a nice person, and I'm happy for us to be friends, but I don't like you in that way. Just say that. You don't have to be weird about it, and,
Did that happen to you?
It happened to a friend. No, so it didn't happen to me, but I'm just talking generally.
Yeah.
Like, why... I'm that's why I never asked anyone out, because I was scared that was going to happen.
You asked me out.
Yeah, but you're a nice person, so I knew you wouldn't do that. And, like, it's guys and girls do it, If you get asked out by someone who you really, really don't like, like, say, like, you don't find them attractive in any way at all, that's fine. You don't have to go out with them. Just don't be a bitch about it. Don't go up and say, ooh, you're disgusting. I would never go out with you. Go and find someone you actually have a chance with. Don't say stuff like that. Just let them down gently and say, look, I'm happy to be friends because you're a nice person, but I don't find you attractive in that way. Then, they might be a bit sad, but they'll be like, oh, okay, at least you're nice about it.
How did this go from bullying to asking people out?
Because
I guess it's like the humiliation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that whole thing of humiliation, making a big deal of things that you really shouldn't, and making people feel crap when you don't need to. And, like, also as well, if someone, this is another big thing, if someone is normally really nice and quiet, and then one day, all of a sudden, they're really snappy and agitated, good chances there's something wrong. So don't be snappy back. Ask them what's up. They probably won't tell you, but at least they know you even cared enough to ask. So, just people, please be nice to other people. We all have to share the same planet. There's nothing we can do about that. Although the way it's going, Elon Musk is going to send people to Mars. But if that happens, send all the bad people to Mars. Putin can go. All these other people can go. Bullies can go. Murderers, all the other people, they can go to Mars and they can deal with each other's problems. And then all the nice people get to stay on this planet. I think that's covered everything. I've just noticed the time, and we want to limit this to 45 minutes because
we want each podcast to be
45 minutes. That just seems like a good podcast time. You've had about 12 adverts pop up.
Yeah.
But it's still recording, so that's good. I just hope the recording didn't get messed up.
It probably didn't, don't worry.
One thing I have realised,
Yeah.
My bars are moving when you talk.
Same with when you talk.
That's going to be interesting in editing, but
Yeah.
I'll try my
It's
best
fine,
to
it's
sort
fine,
that
it's
out.
fine.
So if you, well, you will be new because this is the first one we've done. But if you like our podcast, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.